Some moments in professional golf make you question everything you thought you knew about a player. This is one of those moments. A video surfaced this week, not from a broadcast camera, not from a tournament official, from a fan in the gallery filming on a smartphone. 83 seconds of footage that has the golf world in complete chaos. The player at the center, Wyndham Clark, US Open champion, top 10 in the world, the face of Adidas golf. And now, Adidas is threatening to drop him. The video appears to show Clark improving his lie during the third round of the Travelers Championship. He looks around, then presses down on the grass behind his ball. Subtle movements, easy to miss in real time. But in slow motion, the internet has already reached its verdict. Here's what we know so far. The PGA Tour is reviewing the footage. Adidas has reportedly given Clark's camp 48 hours to provide an explanation. A deal worth over $8 million annually hangs in the balance, and Clark hasn't said a single word publicly since the video went viral. But here's what we don't know. Was this intentional, a misunderstanding, or just a bad angle making something look worse than it actually was? That's what we're going to break down in this video. The video itself, the specific rule that might have been broken, the Adidas threat, the PGA Tour investigation, and what this means for Clark's career going forward. But before we get into all of that, I want to hear from you. Do you think Wyndham Clark cheated intentionally? Or is this being blown completely out of proportion? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want real, unfiltered PGA Tour analysis, hit subscribe. This channel is brand new, and we're building a community of fans who actually watch every week. Now let's get into what actually happened out there. Before we break down the video frame by frame, we need to understand exactly what's at stake here. Because this isn't some journeyman fighting for a paycheck. This is a guy who was on top of the golf world just 2 years ago. June 2023, Los Angeles Country Club, the US Open. Rory McIlroy charging down the stretch, everyone expecting him to finally break his major drought. And then this relatively unknown American comes out of nowhere. Wyndham Clark shoots a final round 70, holds off McIlroy by 1 stroke, and walks away with the trophy. That win changed everything for him. Suddenly, he wasn't just another tour pro. He was a major champion, the future of American golf. Multiple wins followed, a Ryder Cup appearance, consistent top 10 finishes in the world rankings, the kind of career trajectory that makes sponsors line up with blank checks. And the sponsors came running. Adidas signed him to a multi-year deal in early 2024. Industry insiders put the contract at roughly $8 to $10 million annually. Not just shoes and apparel, a comprehensive partnership covering media appearances, tour presence, product development input. He became one of the faces of Adidas golf. When you saw Adidas commercials during tournament broadcasts, Clark was right there in the spotlight. That's the part of the story everyone knew. But here's what makes this situation so painful to watch. 3 years after that US Open glory, Clark isn't being discussed for his wins anymore. He's being discussed for a video, and that video has turned admiration into accusations overnight. The guy who was supposed to be the next big thing in American golf? Now he's fighting for his reputation, his sponsorships, his entire future in the sport, and Adidas isn't waiting around to see how this plays out. So what exactly does that video show? The footage was captured at the Travelers Championship, a premier PGA Tour event held at TPC River Highlands in Connecticut. Normally, that tournament is all about low scores, exciting finishes, and fans getting a preview of who's peaking before the playoffs. This year, the drama came from a completely unexpected direction. The clip runs 83 seconds. It shows Clark standing over his ball on the 14th hole during the third round. His approach shot had found the rough. Not deep, unplayable rough, but thick enough that controlling spin and distance would be a challenge. Clark walked up, surveyed the lie, and then glanced around at his playing partners, the gallery, and the television cameras. That's where things get controversial. In the video, Clark appears to press down on the grass directly behind his ball. He does it twice, subtle movements, easy to miss in real time, but in slow motion, the action becomes clearer. He seems to be tamping down the grass, creating a better lie for his club to pass through cleanly. The video suggests he improved his position, and if you watch closely, there's a moment where he looks over his shoulder before the second press. That split-second glance is what has so many people convinced this wasn't accidental. Now, for those who don't follow the rules closely, here's why that matters. According to USGA Rule 8.1a, A player must not take any action to improve the conditions affecting the stroke. That includes pressing down on grass, moving loose impediments, or altering the lie in any way. If a player does that deliberately, it's a disqualification. If it's accidental, it's a 2-stroke penalty. The camera angle isn't perfect. Clark's body partially blocks the view. Defenders say it's impossible to tell if he actually touched the grass or just hovered his club over it. Detractors argue the video is damning. There's no other interpretation. The slow-motion replays, the zoomed-in versions circulating online, they all tell the same story to those who've already made up their minds. The internet, of course, has already reached its verdict. Within 12 hours, the clip had accumulated 3 million views across Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. Comment sections are relentless. Some fans call for an immediate PGA Tour investigation. Others defend Clark, pointing to his previously clean reputation. But a growing faction is simply waiting to see what Adidas will do next. And they didn't have to wait long. The story shifted from questionable to career-threatening within 48 hours. According to multiple sources close to Adidas Golf's North American management team, the brand is in an emergency review phase. This isn't a routine compliance check. This is high-level, boardroom urgency. Executives are analyzing the video frame by frame, consulting with their legal department, and weighing the reputational damage of keeping Clark versus the financial hit of cutting ties. One source, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Golf Digest that Adidas has a zero-tolerance policy for conduct that compromises the integrity of the game. The video is being taken extremely seriously. No decision has been made yet, but the clock is ticking. That clock is reportedly 48 hours. Clark's camp has been given a tight window to provide an explanation. If the explanation doesn't satisfy the brand's standards, sources indicate Adidas will move to terminate the contract immediately. We're talking about millions of dollars in annual compensation. Not just shoes and clothing, but a comprehensive partnership that includes media appearances, tour presence, and product development input. Here's what makes this particularly brutal. Adidas has dropped players before. Not often, not publicly, but behind closed doors, they've severed relationships with athletes whose behavior threatened the brand's image. Golf doesn't have as many cautionary tales as other sports, but the precedent exists. Adidas doesn't bluff. When they say they're reviewing something, they mean it. The timing couldn't be worse. The Travelers Championship just finished. The PGA Tour is heading toward the playoffs. Every major sponsor is watching how this plays out. If Adidas moves decisively, other brands could follow. Rolex, TaylorMade, any company with Clark's name on a contract. One domino falls, and the rest could tumble. And let's not overlook the human element here. Clark has a team, a family, a reputation built over years. One video, one bad angle, one questionable moment. And suddenly every endorsement, every appearance fee, every future opportunity becomes uncertain. The psychological toll alone would be crushing for anyone. But is Adidas jumping the gun? That depends entirely on what the PGA Tour decides next. And the Tour is now under immense pressure to act. While Adidas deliberates behind closed doors, the PGA Tour has its own process to follow. Tour officials confirmed they've reviewed the footage and are in communication with Clark's representatives. No formal investigation has been announced yet, but reviewing is often the first step before a decision is made. The Tour doesn't move quickly on rules controversies unless the evidence is overwhelming. But when a viral video has 3 million views and counting, the pressure to act increases exponentially. Here's what the rulebook actually says. According to USGA Rule 8.1a, improving the conditions affecting a stroke is prohibited. If a player is found to have deliberately improved their lie, they can be disqualified. If the action is deemed accidental, it's a 2-stroke penalty applied to the specific hole. The challenge here is intent. Did Clark deliberately press down on the grass? Or was he simply checking the lie, and the angle of the video makes it look worse than it was? The Tour's Rules Committee has to make a judgment call based on available evidence, which right now is just that 83-second clip. No other camera angles have surfaced. No official from the tournament has come forward with a different view. Clark hasn't made any public statement yet. That's notable. In past controversies, players often released statements immediately to control the narrative. Radio silence suggests his camp is either crafting a response, seeking legal advice, or waiting to see which way the wind blows. The Tour typically takes 2 to 3 days to issue a ruling in cases like this. That means a decision could drop any moment, possibly before Adidas makes their own move. One thing's certain, the timing affects more than just Clark. The Players' Championship is just around the corner. Every player in the field will be asked about this. Every media outlet will dig deeper, and Clark, regardless of the outcome, will have to face the questions. The locker room is already buzzing. Multiple players have been asked about the video during post-round interviews at the Travelers. Most offered vague, diplomatic responses. "I haven't seen it. I trust the tour to handle it. I'm focused on my own game." That's standard golf speak when a scandal breaks. No one wants to be the player who threw a colleague under the bus publicly. But off the record, the tone shifts. According to a prominent player who requested anonymity, everyone's talking about it. Not just the players, but caddies, agents, sponsors. It's the only thing people are whispering about in the locker room. The tension is palpable. You can feel it in the air when players walk past each other. Another veteran, one of the tour's elder statesmen, described the situation as troubling during a private conversation. He didn't defend Clark, but he also didn't condemn him. Instead, he pointed out the difficulty of judging intent from a single smartphone video. You can't always tell what's happening from that angle. That's the problem with these viral moments. A split-second movement captured from the wrong angle can look completely different from reality. Golf Twitter has no such restraint. The clip has spawned dozens of reactions, some analytical, some brutal, some outright mocking. Memes are circulating. Slow-motion breakdowns are being shared, and a growing chorus of voices is calling Clark's character into question. The court of public opinion has already reached a verdict. Whether that verdict matches reality is another question entirely. So where does that leave us? At the heart of something bigger than one player's mistake. Because this isn't just about Wyndham Clark. It's about the integrity of the sport itself. Here's what makes golf unique. It's the only major sport where players routinely call penalties on themselves. No referees hovering over every shot. No instant replay on every swing. Just a player, a scorecard, and an honor system that's supposed to be ironclad. That system is what separates golf from everything else. And when that integrity gets questioned, the entire sport suffers. Wyndham Clark has never had a rules controversy before. That's important to remember. No whispers, no suspicious drops, no questionable scorecard entries. His name has been clean his entire professional career. That's why this video is such a shock to those who know him personally. They've never seen anything like this from him. But the viral era doesn't care about previous reputation. One clip, one moment, one questionable action, and suddenly a career's worth of goodwill evaporates. We've seen it happen before. Patrick Reed's name has been linked to rules ambiguity for years. Whether deserved or not, the label sticks. It stains. And it never fully washes off. Is Clark about to face that same fate? Possibly. The video isn't going away. The Adidas threat is real. And the PGA Tour's decision, whatever it is, won't satisfy everyone. Half the internet will cry cover-up if he's exonerated. The other half will demand compassion if he's punished. That's the impossible position Clark now occupies. Guilty until proven innocent. Judged by a jury of millions who've already reached their conclusion. The saddest part? The video might be inconclusive. The angle might be misleading. Clark might be completely innocent. But in 2026, innocence doesn't always matter. The damage is already done. The sponsors are nervous. The fans are divided. And his reputation, regardless of what happens next, will never be the same. But here's the question that's still hanging in the air. After everything we've laid out, the video, the rule, the Adidas threat, the tour investigation, the player reactions, what actually happens next? That's the part that will define Clark's legacy. As of right now, Wyndham Clark's future is completely uncertain. The PGA Tour hasn't ruled. Adidas hasn't publicly announced anything. And Clark hasn't spoken a single word to the media since the video surfaced. That silence might be strategic. It might be legal advice. Or it might be someone who simply doesn't know what to say. What happens next depends on two things. The tour's official ruling, expected within days, and Adidas's corporate decision, reportedly coming within 48 hours. One verdict could save his career. The other could destroy it. We'll be back with updates as this story unfolds. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Wyndham Clark cheated intentionally? Or is this being blown completely out of proportion? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want real, unfiltered PGA Tour analysis from someone who actually watches every week, hit subscribe. This channel is brand new, and we're trying to reach our first 1,000 subscribers by sharing content just like this. Thanks for watching. And remember, golf is about honor, But in the viral age, sometimes that honor gets questioned before the evidence is even reviewed.